Hello everyone, welcome back to Sparkle English. My name is Jennifer, and today I'm going to talk to you about English sentence structure, types, and basic punctuation. So first of all, what is a sentence? A sentence is a group of words that expresses a complete thought. And the components of a sentence are we have a subject and we have a verb. And sometimes we have an object. For example, the horse is eating. Here we have a subject, the horse, and we have the verb, is eating. And this is a complete sentence. An example of a sentence with an object, the horse is eating grass. Now let's talk about subjects and predicates. So the subject of a sentence is the person, place, thing, or idea doing the action. And the predicate is the part of the sentence that tells what the subject does or is. And the predicate contains the verb. For example, the cat purred softly. The subject of this sentence is the cat. This is the animal doing the action. And the action is purred softly. So this is the predicate. We may also have a compound subject. So Julia and her classmates finished their project. Here we have a compound subject, Julia and her classmates. And the predicate finished their project. This is telling us what the subject is doing or did. Now let's talk about sentence structure types. So we have simple sentences, and a simple sentence contains one independent clause. For example, Mary reads books. This is a complete sentence. We have the subject Mary and the predicate reads books. A compound sentence contains two or more independent clauses joined by a conjunction or a semicolon. For example, Mary reads books and I watch documentaries. This is a compound sentence because we have two independent clauses joined by the conjunction and. The third sentence structure type are complex sentences. And a complex sentence contains one independent clause and at least one dependent clause. For example, Mary reads books because she loves learning. Here we have a complex sentence. We have an independent clause, Mary reads books. However, because she loves learning is a dependent clause. It begins with a subordinating conjunction, whereas a compound sentence combines two independent clauses with a coordinating conjunction. So this is a complex sentence. And finally, we have compound complex sentences, and they contain two or more independent clauses and one or more dependent clauses. For example, I watch documentaries and Mary reads books because she loves learning. We have an independent clause, I watch documentaries, and a second independent clause, Mary reads books, and a dependent clause, because she loves learning. If you want more help with the main sentence structure types, I have individual lessons on each of these, which you can find by clicking on the link in the description below. Now let's go on to types of sentences. First of all, we have declarative sentences, and a declarative sentence makes a statement. For example, it is sunny. My name is Jennifer. These are statements or facts. The next type of sentence are interrogative sentences, also known as questions, and an interrogative sentence asks a question. For example, how are you? What is your name? Where do you live? We also have imperative sentences, and imperative sentences give commands. For example, shut the window, Go to sleep. Stop talking. Imperative sentences are very common in instructions, in recipes. Teachers and parents are most likely to say imperative sentences when they are giving you instructions or commands. And finally, we have exclamatory sentences, and these sentences show excitement. For example, I got a promotion. Here, the difference between ending this with a period or an exclamation mark is that you are intentionally trying to show excitement. You are not just stating it, you are exclaiming it. So now this leads us into basic punctuation for these types of sentences. So first of all, we have a period. A period is also known as a full stop in British English. And a period is used to end a declarative sentence and sometimes to end imperative sentences. For example, it is sunny, period. This is a statement. Mom drinks coffee, period. Again, this is a declarative sentence. It's a statement. An example of a period ending an imperative sentence. Go to bed. Now, sometimes we use exclamation marks to end imperative sentences, and we do that if we want to exclaim it. Imagine a mother is very tired of her children not listening to her, and she exclaims, "Go to bed." Then we would add an exclamation mark at the end of the sentence. Next, we use question marks to end an interrogative sentence or a question. For example, how are you? Do you like movies? Where do you live? So we use question marks at the end of interrogative sentences when we are waiting for an answer. If I ask, how are you? I want you to respond, I'm fine, I'm okay. Do you like movies? Yes, I do. No, I don't. And finally, we use exclamation marks to end an exclamatory sentence or an imperative sentence if we are exclaiming the command. For example, I'm so angry. What a lovely day. Stop being rude. Once again, exclamation marks are used when we want to exclaim something and express strong emotion, whether that's excitement, anger, disbelief. An exclamation mark is also known as an exclamation point. Before I teach you about other types of punctuation, if you are interested in learning more about the most important punctuation rules in English and you want to help support my channel, you can purchase my 16 Basic Punctuation Rules ebook, which I've linked you to in the description below. There are over 50 pages full of the most important punctuation rules in English and practice worksheets. So now let's talk about other important punctuation marks in English. Commas. We use commas for lists of 3 or more. For example, Mom bought pizza, comma, salad, comma, and fruit for the party. This comma before and is known as the Oxford comma, and it is optional. However, it's more commonly used in North America. We also use commas after introductory phrases. For example, after the movie, comma, we went dancing. We also use commas before coordinating conjunctions when combining 2 independent clauses. For example, Sam considered moving to France, comma, but he decided to stay in England. Here we have 2 independent clauses that are joined by a coordinating conjunction, so we have to add a comma before it because a coordinating conjunction is not strong enough on its own to combine 2 independent clauses. Next, let's talk about apostrophes. First, we use apostrophes for possession and to show possession. For example, Sarah's dogs are cute and playful. Here we have apostrophe S after Sarah, and that means that the dogs belong to Sarah. They are her dogs. Another example, my parents' house is near the beach. Now this example might confuse you because the apostrophe is after the S, and that's because the word parents is plural. I'm talking about my mother and my father's house. So parents is plural here. Because the house belongs to both parents, the apostrophe is placed after the S to show possession by more than one parent. I have an in-depth lesson on apostrophe S and S apostrophe, which you can check out by looking at my video list. And we also use apostrophes to form contractions. For example, it's going to rain tomorrow. It's is a contraction for it is. It is going to rain tomorrow. So rather than writing it is, we can make this shorter by pushing it together and adding an apostrophe to replace the I. It's going to rain tomorrow. She doesn't want to study tonight. Doesn't is a contraction for does not. So the apostrophe replaces O, and this makes one word. Now let's talk about quotation marks. And in North American English, we use double quotation marks for direct speech. For example, "Are you married?" she asked. This is a direct quote from this woman or this person. So we use quotation marks before and after the direct quote. You will see this a lot in novels and in literature. Another example, Dan said, open quotation mark, "This is a bad idea," closing quotation marks. We also use quotation marks when referring to titles of short works. For example, songs or poems. They danced to Shape of You by Ed Sheeran. Because this is a title of a song, we have to put this in opening and closing quotation marks. The president quoted Fire and Ice in her speech. So that is all for this lesson on sentence structure, types, and basic punctuation. In my next lesson, I will have a quiz to test your knowledge on everything you learned in this lesson. Let me know if you have any questions or you need any clarification. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in my next lesson.